How are you? Awesome. How's your mega camp been so far? Really good. Yeah, this has been incredible. I was sitting in the general session and I was thinking really like what Gary is asking in these interviews are really lending very nicely into what we'll chat about today. So take some of what you heard today and then we can kind of infuse that with what we'll go through. So thank you so much for being here. As Xavier said, my name is Cydne Seymour. I have the absolute pleasure of being the regional technology trainer for the Carolinas region. I do live in Florida. I'm a labs advisor as well as a Keller Williams University master faculty instructor. And I've actually been with Keller Williams for 15 years. I believe this is my 12th mega camp, if I'm doing the math correct. And I'm just extremely passionate about helping our Keller Williams associates and making sure that you have awareness of all the systems, the models, and the tools that you have access to. Now, before I jump in, I want to just make mention that if you've been at this amphitheater, you might have heard this before, that a lot of what we're presenting today and in the coming days will be based off of either playbooks that Keller Williams has written or one-pagers. So what I'm going to be discussing today is a very, very quick overview of the database playbook, which we appropriately just named $1 Million Database, How to Turn Contracts into Closings. So if something that I speak about today really kind of resonates with you, I encourage you to, once you get home or maybe while you're here, go to Command and then go to Connect, and you're just going to search for Database Playbook. And once you're there, you'll be able to download this entire playbook that I'm going to go through in the next 15 minutes or so. So really, we're condensing this. We're going to do some activities together, but that's where you can find it and really be able to access it. So when we talk about the database playbook, there's really 4 things that we want to talk about. The first thing that we're going to talk about is we want to do some math. And like I mentioned, I've been with Keller Williams for 15 years and I've worn a lot of hats. And one of them is not the hat of an MCA. So I am not and have never been a market center administrator. So math is not my strong suit, but it's okay because I think we're going to do some fun math where we're talking about the potential of your database. So I have a question, and you don't have to shout this out. I just want you to think about this. If someone were to offer to purchase your database today, how much would it be worth? You don't have to shout it out. Maybe jot that down and maybe think a little bit about that. Now, what's interesting, I travel and I teach this workshop, and a lot of times when I ask that question, I get a lot of like, ooh, I don't know. Did anybody here feel that way? Like, ooh, I don't know how much it's worth. Yes, I'm getting some head nods. Okay. I bet that it is worth a lot more than you think. But what we see is a lot of times when an agent is looking at their database, they have data, it's just kind of spread out in a lot of different places. And that's what we see sometimes with your database, is that you might have contact information, maybe in your phone, maybe some in Command or a CRM that you're using, but we don't have one general place where all of our information is. So I want you to now think about something. If tomorrow you had no contacts in your database and you had to completely restart your real estate business, how much would that cost you? You suddenly go from having no contacts into your database, or maybe you're brand new and you're completely building it from scratch. How much would that cost? Now I have notes because, as I mentioned, I'm not good with math, so I wanted to make sure I got this correct. In the database playbook, we really did like the law of averages. And so we said, okay, if I had to rebuild my database, or if I wanted to know the true value of my database, let's say that I have 3,000 contacts in my database. Your number might be more or less. And let's say that on average, we're going to say if I needed to completely rebuild that database from scratch, the cost per lead would be $25 per lead. I think that's a fair assessment. And then what we're really adding to that is, what are the years of value of my database? So we're saying that you are someone that has been in the real estate industry for 3 years. So when we take that and we do 3,000 contacts times $25 per lead times 3 years, that's a database value of $225,000, meaning that that is untapped potential that you might have sitting in your database that we're just not potentially thinking about at that level. So my question to you would be, are we really treating our database like this incredible asset that it is? Or are we treating it a little bit like, we're going to call it like a digital junk drawer, where we really don't know everything that's in there and we're just kind of collecting some stuff. It's maybe not as neat and organized as we would like for it to be. Now, I want you to, continuing with the math, the average conversion rate, but I know that we are at Mega Agent Camp. This is not average agent camp, as Gary oftentimes says, but the average conversion rate is around 1.5%. That's for true leads, not necessarily your sphere, but 1.5%. Yours might be double that. Yours might even be higher than that. But if that's the average conversion rate, what would happen if you doubled it? What would happen if you had all of this information about your database so you were able to engage with them, which we're going to talk about next, and you were able to double your conversion rate from 1.5 to 3%? What are some activities that you could do for that? So if you're jotting notes down, what I might suggest is you want to write down an action item of really going and looking at how many contacts are in your database. Are all of the contacts that should be in your database, are they living there? Do we have one place? Something that I speak about a lot is we want to have one source of truth. And so rather than having contacts in an Excel spreadsheet and these contacts in your email and these contacts handwritten here, we want to have one place where we can put them. We really want that source of truth. So that might be an action item for you when you go home or maybe while you're here to really mastermind on that. Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about with the database playbook, and I think this is one that you will like, by a show of hands, who would like to save money? Everyone. Yes, all the hands are up. So what we're really going to do is we're going to slow the spend. Has anybody ever purchased leads through real estate? Okay, we have some hands up. So someone said this to me one time, and this is also in the database playbook, and it really kind of stuck with me. And it is the truth, and sometimes the truth can hurt a little bit. If you have an influx of leads in your database and they are not leading to closings, you don't have a lead problem, you have a lead nurture problem. So again, if you have an influx of leads that are just sitting in your database, we don't have a lead problem. We have a lead nurture or follow-up problem. And I meet with a lot of top agents and we look at their database and they have all of these contacts, but it's just a list of contacts that they've fallen between the cracks, or they never reached out to them, or they reached out to them once and then never did it again. And they kind of go to that place where contacts can go to live, where we're not constantly looking at them. So I have a challenge for you with slowing the spend. I want you, when you go back home, and you can do this very easily in Command, I'm sure that you can do it in other CRMs as well. I want you to go to your database and I want you to sort it by last contacted. So I want you to go to your Command database and you can just click on last contacted and it's going to sort your entire database. And here's where it gets really fun. Anybody that you have not contacted in the last, we'll say 6 months. I think we could even shorten that. I think it could be 3 months, but you know your business. I want you to treat that like a mega hot lead. So I want you to go in and look, who have I not contacted in the last, we'll say 6 months? And that is your new hot lead list. So if you met him in an open house and you thought I had the best intentions of following up, I put all this information, we had a great conversation about their family and what they were looking for, fantastic, that's a hot lead. If it's someone that said, hey, my sister is thinking of moving to the Orlando market and she really wants to get there before school starts, guess what, it started Monday, it's okay, we can get them in now, hot lead. And then if we have people, friends, family members, sphere, agent referrals, it's okay. Don't feel shameful about not contacting them. Don't start the conversation with, hey, I know I never followed up, right? But it's okay. That's your new hot lead list. Do I have anyone here that either runs a team or is on a team here? Fantastic. So those of you that are either on a team or maybe you run a team, you're the director of operations, you're going to introduce all of those leads to every member of your team and say, here's the hot, new, ready to go lead list. We're going to reach out and contact them. In Command, you could even put them in the lead pool. Anybody from the team can go fish from that pond and their new leads. We're constantly following up in a TCPA friendly and compliant way. I want to make sure I make mention of that. So again, first step is we talked about we want to do the math. We really want to have an understanding of what does our database look like? How much is it truly worth? The second thing is we're going to slow the spend. So we want to make sure that, do we really need to be purchasing leads just to be purchasing leads? Do we have enough contacts, enough potential leads? Are we just not converting them at a high enough level? And how can we improve that conversion ratio? The next one is to increase the quality of your touches over time. So I say this again with love, but I don't know that any of your clients have ever woken up and thought, oh my gosh, I didn't get that email from my real estate agent and I forgot to set my clocks back, right? They're the ones that let me know and they didn't let me know and I didn't do it. Yet sometimes we just get in this habit of sending the same things over and over and over and over and over again, and we think that it is working. I want you to write this down if you're taking notes. We need to ensure that every single touch that we make is timely, it is needed, and it is useful. And if we wanted to take that a step further, we might think, if I received this from someone, would I pass this along to someone else? Is this something that I find value in, that I would then share with my friend or my family member and say, hey, I thought this was really cool and I wanted to share this with you, or this is a fantastic resource. So we really need to make sure, is it timely, is it needed, and is it useful? I would challenge you to do a little bit of an audit of your touches. So really go back and say, okay, these are the emails that I'm sending out. Does it check those 3 boxes? This is what I'm calling, and we had a great speaker before that talked about incredible events. I'm calling people to invite them to an event. That is timely, that is needed, and that is useful. Are all of your phone calls around that? Are you planning that? And really doing an audit of your touches, whether they're automated, whether it's you texting, whether it's some sort of social media post. And then I encourage you to kind of take it for your top VIP clients. Let's take this a little bit further. So let's say that you live in an area, I live in Florida, so I don't live in an area where we clean our gutters, but let's say that you live in an area where you do. I clean palm trees where I'm from. And let's say that you have 3 fantastic companies that will come out and clean your gutters for you. So what I might do is I might do some sort of newsletter of like, it's that time of year where we want to do that. I'm going to send that out to my entire database. But what I might do for my VIP clients is I might call those 3 companies and say, hey, I've got probably like 15 to 20 VIP clients that I'd love to just give them a little something extra. Would you be cool with giving them a 10% off deal if they call you and use your services? Now, what do you think that company is going to say? Yes, 100%. It's going to be new business that they probably never had. And then here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send the email to my entire database of, we're moving into this season. Here are the top 10 types of vendors that I find my clients are looking for this time of year. So that's going to go out to everybody. But my VIP clients are going to get the email, and then they're immediately going to get a phone call. And they're going to say, hey, you got an email from me a couple of days ago. It was my vendor list for the fall or for this upcoming time. Because you're such an exceptional client to me, I wanted to give you a little bit more. So 3 of the gutter companies know that I'm reaching out to you and letting you know that if you decide to use them, they've got a code set up. It's Cydne 10, and that's going to give you 10% off of all the services. Do me a favor, if you do decide to use them, just let me know after how they were. Would love to kind of let them know that you had a great referral, a great experience from that. So you see, we're doing a lot for the masses, and then we're taking kind of that smaller to our real VIP clients, and we're building a little bit of a campaign around this. Now, if later you download the database playbook, I'm going to encourage you to look at one of the pages there. It is from Gary's top 100 masterminds, and it is a list of like, I want to say 40 different things, these timely, needed, useful touches that we see the top agents with our company are using and having success with. So you might want to take a look at those. I'm just going to give you a little bit of caution. Don't try to implement all of them. It will throw your life into a tailspin. And you might even look and say, okay, this person is doing this with client events. I'm doing that a little bit. How can I kind of make that better? And you'll see this list is going to have some great suggestions. So definitely make a note to take a look at that. Now, the final thing that we're going to talk about is really inspecting what you are expecting in your database. So imagine that you are an investor in a new restaurant. I don't believe that you would become an investor and then never go to the restaurant and check on it, right? You would go, you would eat, you would see how the service is, you would make sure that the food is good, you would make sure that your investment was going the way that it should be. That is what we have to constantly be doing with our database. So step 4, where we are inspecting what we are expecting, this might be one of the hardest things that I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to just calendar out maybe 30 minutes a week to inspect your database of what you are expecting. And some things that we might look at in that 30 minutes is we might look at all of the tasks that we have due for our contacts that are maybe in command. And we might say, do I need to get rid of some of these tasks? Do I need to actually check off some of these tasks? What slips between the cracks? What do I need to make sure I'm focusing on? I might look at who recently is a buyer that I set up on an electronic alert. And when's the last time that I really called them and reached out to them and made sure that the settings were still what they were looking at? Did they see any homes that they were interested in? Do I have potential sellers that maybe asked for a CMA and I either delivered that CMA to them or now we're in a completely different market? Is it worth going back and doing another CMA and reaching out to them for that touch? Again, we started with really looking at the contacts of when were they last contacted. This might be part of what we're doing when we are inspecting what we are expecting. So I want to leave you just with a real quick story. So I have the ability, and it's really an honor of mine to be able to consult with a lot of top Keller Williams agents around their database. And I got a phone call from one day, and she said, I just have to share this story with you because I was just so excited. And she said, I went on a listing appointment and I didn't get the listing. That isn't the exciting part. And she said, I didn't get the listing. And I thought, you know what? I felt like we had a connection and they did go with someone else, but I just wanted to continue to nurture the relationship in a non-aggressive, in a TCPA friendly, compliant way. They were not trying to take this listing. And so that listing did sell. And so a lot of us might have thought, well, they used another agent. I'm going to kind of write that off. It's sold. That's fine. This agent had added that seller to a monthly neighborhood nurture, which you can find through Command as a smart plan, in different neighborhoods that contact was interested in, but also where they had recently moved to. And that consumer reached out to the agent when they moved to their new house, and now we're selling that house because they wanted to move again, and said, hey, I wanted to now hire you to help me with the sale of my new house. This was about a year later. And the agent said, well, if you don't mind me asking, I'm flattered. I would love to help. I'll come over for the appointment. But I know you had another agent that you used, and I'm sure you had a fantastic experience with them. Why did you decide to reach out to me? And they said, because even though we didn't use you in the initial sale of our other property, you continued to follow up with me. You continued to educate me on the market. You listened to the areas that I was interested in, and you didn't even have my business, but in a very low aggressive way, you still were top of mind to me. Now, it's almost to the point that this agent said, I didn't even remember putting them on the monthly neighborhood nurture, right? I just thought this is what I do for all of my contacts. And so this is someone that had an incredible experience with somebody else, but because this Keller Williams agent stayed in touch and continued to deliver timely, needed, and useful information all through their database, they went on to win that listing, and actually they listed and sold significant homes for this same contact. So I leave you with this. I encourage you to just really think of your database as a gold mine. I truly think it's your legacy. You can allow it to work for you in many, many ways. Again, my name is Cydne Seymour. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for spending time with me. Have a great rest of Mega Camp.